Sir Patrick Stewart has a career that has spanned across generations and genres, and now he's recounting it all in his memoir called Making It So. Patrick looks back at his childhood in Muirfield, England, his life on the stage with the Royal Shakespeare Company, and that life-changing role as Jean-Luc Picard on Star Trek: The Next Generation. With more this morning is Patrick himself. He joins us. Welcome to the Your Morning studio.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. I'm delighted to be here and delighted to be back in Toronto.
It's delightful to hear your voice in our studio. I love it so much. The memoir was wonderful, but let's start with the voice. Listening to it is a treat. It's like a performance. I want to play some of it for our viewers and then get you to comment out of it.
Oh. My arrival was slightly delayed because my mother's midwife, having examined my mother that morning, decided that I was not yet ready to appear and declared that she was going to a movie matinee at the Vale Cinema, half a mile away in the centre of Muirfield.
You are not just reading a story, you are delivering it. What was it like, though, to read your own story aloud?
Well, it was a performance, Anne-Marie. When I wrote the book, I tried to write it in my voice, as I might have spoken it.
Okay.
That was my objective, because books have played a hugely important part in my life. I think I became hooked with my local library at the age of 6.
Love that.
And I would take 2 books every weekend, and then return them. But I never for one moment anticipated that the time would be correct for me to write a book. But the first draft actually was 750 pages. And this is, what, about 440 or something.
Did you speak it aloud as you were writing it?
What a original question. I don't think I've been asked that before. No, I didn't. I did try to make it, in a way, intimate, as though there were 2 or 3 of us sitting around a fire with a glass of wine in our hands, but I was the only one talking.
But you achieve that because that's what it feels like. It feels like you're having a conversation. It's really true.
Good.
In the beginning chapters, you write fondly of the mentors who supported your acting. How did having those people in your life change the trajectory of this small boy this young boy who's living in this small town in England?
They transformed my life, and the book is dedicated to 2 people. Cecil Dormand, who was my English teacher in the very academically modest school that I went to, where my education ended at 15. And then a retired actress who became my teacher, my coach, acting coach, Ruth Winnow. The 2 of them, they were the ones who said to me, "You can do this. You can do this. You have a special connection with it. You must do more and more." And they made me feel comfortable about that, and it gradually built up until it became my life. And it has been like that. Actually, I'm now trying to adjust it a little bit, because I have to admit that for decades, acting was my primary interest.
Right.
It's not anymore.
It's not. What is?
The world.
The world.
My family, my wife, friends. I've adjusted the importance level. And it's probably the result of getting a little older.
Can we look back on the acting for just a moment, though? You're known, of course, around the world for your role as Jean-Luc Picard on Star Trek: The Next Generation. And you share how you developed this iconic character by both using your Shakespearean training and your parents as a guide. Yeah. Where do we see both of those in this role?
Anne-Marie, it was really Gene Roddenberry we have to mention for this, because Gene was the creator of the original Star Trek series, and it was his idea to go for a new one. Although when I had been cast and I learned that I had to sign a contract for 6 seasons, I said, I can't. I've got theatre projects and everything. And people said to me, don't worry. It's not going to work. You cannot revive an iconic series, like Bill Shatner and Leonard Nimoy and so forth. And I said, okay, so you think you'll be lucky to make it to the end of the 1st season? they said.
Wow.
Well, 7 years later, it was a very different matter. But I based him on what Gene gave me.
Okay.
We were not close, Gene and I. In fact,
I feel like there's a story there.
the truth is, yes, that I was not his first choice.
Oh.
There was someone else. There were others, actually. And it was the pressure of two other producers who kept bringing me back to audition until finally it came down to me and someone else, and
The rest is
I
history.
got lucky.
Yeah. Picard kept you very busy, you said, for 7 seasons, and you loved the theater. And I loved that you missed it so much, you decided to put on your own one-man stage version of A Christmas Carol, the Charles Dickens classic, one that you won an award for. So how did that one-man show come to be?
I got a request from my hometown parish church.
Mm-hmm.
It was a small community that I grew up in, but we had, Methodist and Second City and a lot of different organizations, and they all had acting groups, and they all put on plays and
Yes.
performances, Christmas pantomimes and
Yes.
so forth. It was so commonplace that nobody thought you were trying to be somebody better than you were by being an actor, by being a performer. And I enjoyed that so much, partly because it encouraged me to stop being Patrick Stewart and be somebody else. Because when I was younger, I didn't really care much for Patrick Stewart. And it was partly my home environment that did that. I felt responsible for the problems that we had in my home. My father and my mother had. And acting meant that I could become somebody else for a period of time. Sometimes really unpleasant people like Macbeth or...
Is this, who are we looking at here in this photo?
That's my mother.
Mom.
That is Gladys Stewart. And the little guy who looks just like her. Don't you think? Those eyes are the same. Is me, and I guess I'm what? What would you say, 2, 3 years old?
I would, yeah.
Isn't it beautiful?
It is a beautiful photograph. Patrick, can I ask you about your social media audience right now? Because you're successful on the stage, you're successful in movies and in television, and now you have really found this amazing audience on social media, especially during the pandemic, where you read a Shakespeare sonnet every day. We would talk about these in our meetings, but I wanted to play some for our viewers at home.
Be wise as thou art cruel. Do not press my tongue-tied patience with too much disdain. Let sorrow lend me words, and words express the manner of my pity-wanting pain.
What do you think when you look back on that time, and what's it been like to find a new audience on social media?
Well, I was not an enthusiast about social media at the very beginning.
Sure.
I felt, no, I'm an actor, a performer. Who cares about what the hell Patrick Stewart thinks or, is interested in? But it became more and more important, encouraged by my wife, who is super at social media and understands the importance, the potential significance of it, and what it can do. I was unprepared. I mean, for instance, when I recorded the first sonnet, Shakespeare sonnet that I recorded, I was totally unprepared for the overwhelming response to a 14-line Shakespeare sonnet.
Listen, it was something beautiful in a dark time.
Well, then it was my wife who suggested, why don't you record them all, one every day? And I think there are 156 sonnets. It was a lot of work. Only 14 lines a day, but it was tough going. But and I also have a team, a PR team,
Sure.
and there are specialists there in social media, and they advise me. And when I think, ooh, this is a little too personal, and they say, no. It's exactly what we want.
Keep going. Keep making it so. We enjoy it very much. Thank you so much for being here on Your Morning. Pleasure to speak with you.
Thank you. I've enjoyed it very much.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.